Hey, everybody, welcome to Pink Shade. It's Thursday. It's the day we talk about Bravo. So, I've got one of my Bravo experts here. It's my friend Mandy Slutsker of Is This Real Life with Mandy Slutsker. Hey, Mandy.
Hi, how's it going?
Hi. It's great. Everything is great.
Everything's wonderful.
Everything's so great. Country's exploding. Son has to leave college. Everybody's sick. We're snowed in. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. You're a city girl, though, so you just get out, you just hit the streets. Everything's all good for you down there in DC, I'm
No,
sure.
it is actually the worst I've seen it because of
Really?
the sheets of ice or like the sleet that came down. So we got like 7
Yeah.
inches of snow and then like inches of ice on top. It is now
Mhm.
so packed in that I, an adult human being, can walk on top of it without falling through.
Yeah.
Like when my dog was walking on it, she's 20 pounds, whatever. But then I like was trying to get to like pick up her poop and I was like, wow, I'm walking on like 9 inches right now of like solid, I don't know, snow ice material. And they haven't plowed. I mean, they've plowed some big streets, but they haven't plowed like the street that I live on. So like
Oh,
the cars are
really?
stuck. Yeah, it's such a disaster here. It's like, and then there's no communication about like when things are going to get plowed or what they're trying to do. Or apparently a lot of the trucks broke.
Mm. Well, that's bad timing. That's bad
No, like
timing.
because of the ice is so heavy compared to snow
Oh,
that like
uh-huh.
they weren't able to like do the removal.
Mhm. Well, here where we are in Fairfax County, it's been all right, but I had to go over to Old Town. This is the first time I left my house in 3 days. I had to go over to Old Town to pick something up, and when you got over into Old Town, it was the same situation, like,
Yeah.
most of the streets weren't plowed, and I'm just like, like
Yeah,
four-wheeling
you
it.
put on that all-wheel drive and you just
Yeah, and I
go.
just,
You have your
like,
night.
go. Mhm.
My friends are all just like, "Oh my god, I'm so sick and tired of being inside." So I'm like, "Whatever. This Minnesota girl's gonna get in her car."
Yeah.
And I just went and picked them all up and brought them to my place.
You're like, "It's fine." I looked at my car, and I was, like, putting it as, like, eco mode, standard mode, something mode, and it said snow mode. I go, "That's the one." Put it in snow and just, like, yeah, here we go. So, yeah, you guys, good times. I hope wherever you are warm. I love the people posting, like, from Aruba or something. I'm like, "Good for you.
So
Good
I
for
was
you."
just in Grand Cayman last week and I
Yes,
got
you
in like an hour before the storm hit.
it feels so good. You get that sun, you just felt so good.
It did feel so good. It's wonderful. I would recommend vacation there to absolutely anyone. It's
Grand
lovely.
Cayman. Is that one of Shep Rose's places where he finds girlfriends, Grand Cayman? I'm trying to remember.
No, I think that was Bahamas, and he also likes
Uh-huh.
to go to St. Bart's,
That's
which
right.
I've never been to.
Me either. According to Bethany, it's not worth it. Um,
That was so weird when there was that whole story about her getting what was it on her eye, like on her
she got, like, a
face?
bacterial infection from the sheets at the
Yeah, but
hotel or
people were
something,
saying
yeah.
it was like face chlamydia, which, like, isn't a thing.
Oh, no. Give
I was like,
Bethany a break.
there's lots of types of bacteria, you guys don't need to call it face chlamydia."
Bethany, we love her. She's gonna save the planet. One Chanel bag at a time. Alright, let's talk about the Salt Lake City reunion part 3.
Oof.
Um, we're gonna go through it, as it happened lightly, and, the way part 2 ended and the way part 3 began was with Brittany doing a performance cry situation. And I thought it was hilarious when she came back to the stage with her, like, her Starbucks cup, and she's like, "Okay." And they're all like, "We're in the middle of a conversation." And they're like, "We were talking, getting somewhere. We really don't care." And she's like, "Fine." It's like, the girl, when I tell you she is the Rodney Dangerfield of Salt Lake City, she gets no respect. And she's like, "I'm not a victim." I'm like, "But you are an actress, so stop. Stop."
Yeah, that's what's hard with her is you don't know when she's being real and when she's acting
Mhm.
truly, and so it's very, very tough to know. I also think people were really hard last week on Meredith for sharing what
Okay.
she shared. At least that's what I saw on social media,
Mhm.
and, I mean, it's not great to insinuate that someone is anti-Semitic, and I don't
Not
believe that Brittany is. I don't believe it's in her heart, but she does have a tendency to, like, wanna look the other way with lots of things in
Mhm.
general. Like,
Mhm.
look at her relationship. Like, there's red flags all over that, and she just won't see it if she doesn't feel like seeing it. And
Good
so,
point.
I'm not shocked, like, if she was told, "Hey, this guy said this, like, horrible anti-Semitic thing," and she's like, "Was that his only offense, essentially?"
She's like, "It's free nails. It's free nails."
Like, totally, like, I don't think she understood the gravity of the situation for Meredith, where it was, like, a person who had come into her home, and
Yeah.
as a Jewish person, and it has been a time of, like, a very heightened anti-Semitism where, like, every
Mhm.
Jew that I know has experienced it on a personal level multiple times.
Mhm.
Like, it's I understand her being the way she is. She's just a really poor communicator, Meredith. Like, she communicates like a robot or like a
Yeah.
legal robot. She's not
Yeah.
saying, "This hurt me because I had this man in my home and it really disturbed me that I had someone that had hate in their heart for me and my family in my home." And to think that someone else, in this friend group would use this person even after knowing that,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah.
is
And
like, and
then
that,
wrote him a
yeah.
glowing review.
And then
That's what's the
yes,
craziest thing.
I could see why she was miffed. I don't like that, production decided not to keep whatever that was, like, in, because then we couldn't understand why she hated Britney so much. I get it a little more now. It's not like it's okay how she treated Britney, but it makes way more sense now. Like, I don't think she gave a shit about the TikTok.
No, yeah, and the TikTok, whatever. Well, Andy tries to talk to Meredith about the plane situation, and she said, "I had one drink in the lounge." And then Lisa starts yelling and crying and saying, like, "You guys accuse me of starting into these rumors." And Mary is going, "Calm down. It's not that deep. Calm down." And then Lisa says to Heather, "I'll spill all your secrets. I'll spill all your secrets." And Heather goes, "Go ahead. Like, what are we talking about?" Then Meredith starts saying she'll take a drug test every single day. Um, Whitney apologizes for calling Meredith a drug addict. Um, but
Pill
she said
popper,
a pill
yeah.
popper, and she said, her behavior does read benzos mixed with alcohol. I was like,
It
wow, let's get
does.
specific. Yeah. Um, but then we see in 2023 a Sprinter van, always a Sprinter van clip in Bermuda where Heather is saying like, "Oh, you're coming down from the benzos from the flight." And then they start talking about, oh, Heather's like, "Meredith, I've given you lots of pills." And she's like, "I don't know what pills you're talking about." She's like, "I've given you a Zofran when you're nauseous. I've given you an Ambien for flying." And Heather's like, "So what pills have I popped in front of you?" Now, there's two things here, Mandy. On a reunion, when we had the whole we didn't know with the Gin Shaw and the black eye, there was
Yes.
a comment about ketamine. On the season opener 2 seasons ago when Bronwyn came in with the big heart coat and Meredith I mean, and Mary and Brittany got into the fight about, "You're not poor and you put biscuits in your purse."
In your purse, yeah.
They also made a comment about people doing ketamine.
Really?
So twice there's been comments on the show about people doing ketamine.
It
So I
makes
don't think
sense in
it's
Utah
beyond
because
the realm of that these people are doing ketamine,
oh,
you know?
totally not beyond the realm, and I think Monica Garcia, who is not a very good, like, I don't think she's a reliable narrator, but she
Right.
did say that someone a few years ago at BravoCon brought Coke with them and was nervous someone would find it, which
Yeah.
tells me that maybe they're not frequent Coke users.
Right, they don't know what they're doing. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I was like, "Oh, they're trying to have some fun in Vegas," and
Yeah,
they
and then they got nervous.
they haven't done it before.
Yeah, it's like, and then, Heather's like, "Okay, tell me the pills I popped in front of you." "Well, I don't know what they are. I've just seen the pills. I don't know what they are." And then Whitney's like, "But we're trying to get away from the point, and the point is I wanted to go back to what I said and say that I'm sorry for what I said." Whitney, I felt the whole especially this episode, was trying so hard to be heard from the end of that couch. She's like, "But wait a minute, I was talking from the end of the couch." She was trying very hard
Yeah,
to make sure she sees the next season, I felt.
I think so.
Yeah.
I yeah. They're also interesting in how they communicate and don't communicate. And I feel like, and we'll get into this when we talk about Beverly Hills, but I feel like more and more housewives are going into filming a scene or sitting for a reunion with, like, a game plan, and they don't wanna
Yes.
deviate from the game plan, and
Yes.
whenever there's, like, something that comes like Lisa Barlow, when Mary started coming for Lisa Barlow, it was like, "Oh, I did not have a way to pivot from this. This was not part of my game plan." Like, she was like, "Where is this coming from?" And she didn't even it was like she couldn't listen in real time and respond in real time. The
Right.
only person that seemed, like, fully present and ready to respond to anything was Bronwyn, but even she came in with a game plan. Like, "I'm gonna
Mhm.
announce my separation, and I'm gonna
Mhm.
share, this, and this." Um, so yeah, I guess it makes it harder to have real conversations where you can get real answers from them because like Meredith was so rehearsed. Literally, she'd be the perfect witness on a witness stand. Every lawyer would love to have her on their side for cross examination. You can't get her. She will not flip. It was like Hillary Clinton in the Benghazi, like 12-hour like testimony. Like you will not get her to fuck up.
Yeah, and I think the 2 of them, Lisa and Meredith, obviously had a game plan going in because they keep referring to, "Yes, you hit all your points, now let it go. Did I
Yeah,
miss something?
it's
Oh, you
so
forgot to say this."
obvious.
It's so and they're like, "We're not tag team, we speak for ourselves." Like, "No, you're literally doing it with the microphones on you," you know?
Yeah.
Um, so anyway, Meredith says, regarding the on the plane, Andy's like, "Do you have anything else you wanna say or you're sorry?" And she goes, "I did vent on the plane to Lisa, and I did not mean to hurt Brittany's feelings." And Andy goes, "Okay, so nothing new. You said it all
Yeah.
before." Okay. Andy's like, you're obviously not gonna admit to anything." And then even Heather's like, "The 2 of you have got what you're gonna say, so you're just gonna repeat it until you believe it's true," you know?
Yeah.
Angie says, "Meredith, look, you got on the plane in a bad place mentally, and if you would have done that to me, you would have had air marshals waiting for you on the other side because
Oh, yeah.
this girl was destroyed way worse than just now when she did the fake storm off." Like, it's like the black eye. It's like they're going to dance around it, but we're never going to know the truth.
Right. Until they're
Um,
ready to tell the truth, right?
right.
Like, so for Heather to be like, "Be honest, tell us everything," when she has held on to something for years feels a
Mhm.
bit, hypocritical.
Yeah. Um, okay. Whitney talks about the Wild Rose Beauty and, her and Justin, and she officially owns it now. She had to buy it all back. And no, she doesn't resent Justin. Blah, 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 blah. I don't care. Um, okay. Heather is happy to be an empty nester. People, it was a little controversial about this, but I understood what she meant about
Yeah,
she
she's
was happy
just
the kids were moving into it. She was able to move into a new stage. She's been a single sole parent for so long that she's like, "Oh my god, I'm actually excited for them to move into a new phase, and I'm excited for myself."
Yeah, I don't think it was I mean, I'm sure people can find controversy in anything, but I think she was just saying, wow, like if you get married that young, right? Like 23,
Yeah.
24, I mean, back in the day, that was like, everyone got married at that age, but you have very few years. You have like high school, maybe college, maybe a year or two after of like quote unquote freedom where you do things and you make decisions for yourself and you're not
Yeah.
thinking about a family when you make decisions. Well, she hasn't had that in so long. She never really got her freedom. She never really dated around or had lots of boyfriends or even explored what her interests were. I read her
Mhm.
book, like she started with like this jewelry business that did really well. Like I just
Mm.
don't feel like she's gotten a chance to explore anything that she was interested in because she was so focused on raising those kids while she was married and then even more so after her divorce. So she's
Yeah.
not had a minute to herself.
Yeah, I thought she was like, I'm still loving it." No, I don't feel bad about it at all. And, Brittany tells us for the first time in 6 years, she had both of her daughters home for Christmas. Talks about how much she loves them. That was interesting. So then we talk about this thing about John Barlow making Lisa look bad on camera. And Andy's like, kind of seems like he was like trying to make you look bad. And she goes, it was very upsetting because he knows I do everything for him and I do feel underappreciated sometimes. And it did really break my heart. that he would say that, like, on camera. I would never try to make him look bad like that. And Heather's like, "Well, you just felt embarrassed." And Mary goes, "I don't know. If your husband says you're not a good listener, then you're not a good listener."
I
Um,
love Mary. She was
she's
so honest and on
oh,
top of
yeah.
everything.
So funny. And, Lisa goes, "Okay, Mary." And Meredith goes, "She's trying to help you." And she's like, "I don't need your help right now, Mary." Um, and Angie goes, "But look, those were his real feelings, and we are on a reality show." And Andy goes, "Yeah, I thought it was like actually a real moment." But Lisa's like, "Whatever, I'm done. I don't want to talk about it. Like what I'm saying is falling on deaf ears." And they're like, "You're not listening to us. We're validating you. We're saying that was a real moment between the two of you." And Mary's like, "She don't want to hear it. She don't want to hear it." But it was
Yeah.
interesting that they were trying to say like it was really real. And yes, it may have been hurtful, but he was being very honest and you are on a reality show. But she just is like, "No, he shouldn't have done that."
Because she's performative on the show. She doesn't show us her true self. I don't think she knows who her true self is. Yes, part of herself is like, she loves to go to Wendy's and, drive around with her kid in the back, calling him baby gorgeous. But like, that's not a personality. Do you know what I
Right.
mean?
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
she has problems listening. And I think he has problems getting her attention. And there's no better way to get her attention than filming, right? Because she
Yeah.
cares so much about how she comes across. And I think it was like a Hail Mary pass for him. Like he's just like,
Hmm.
please listen to me. You need to do better listening. I am unhappy when you behave this way. Like, I
Hmm.
think you also cause problems in this relationship. It can't just be me. Like, that's what he's trying to convey, that she's so focused on the image of herself and the
Yeah.
image of them as like the perfect couple that she can't even hear that he's actually hurting and that he does seem to want to fix it. When people don't want to fix things, they don't talk about them.
Yeah. It did seem like he was like, this is like a Hail Mary." And it is just like what they said on the last episode when she didn't show up for that first day of filming. And they were like, "Two things we know about Lisa, she's not going to miss a filming day. And she's, not going to miss something for a payday, basically." So she showed up for filming that and she wasn't expecting him to do that. She was like, "This is really hard. We had a really hard time." Um, Speaking of bad relationships, so we get the scenes of Bronwyn and Muzzy, um,
Yeah.
and then we also saw the whole thing about her, like, trying to talk to Todd and, like, "Do you wanna have an open marriage?" and all that, and she tells us, and I don't think I knew during the regular season that her dad passed away right when they got home from Greece. If so, that just with all the airplane drama, that went right over my head. I didn't realize her dad had
Yeah.
passed away.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And it happened so like kind of quickly. Like they put him in a home and like a few
yeah,
months later he's done. And
yeah,
I'm sure I don't, but you deal with someone who is, has Alzheimer's that goes on for years and years and years.
yeah,
And so like you're sort of mourning them while they're still alive.
yes.
But then when they're gone, it's so final. And yeah, it's just a very difficult illness.
Yes,
I
and
think.
it was interesting about, her saying that Muzzy had never really accepted that that was what it was and was saying, "Oh, he died suddenly." And we had a kind of a similar situation with my mother-in-law, like, she went into a memory care unit and died within, like, 2 months, and it was the same kinda thing. It's like, wow, it was so sudden. It was like, "Oh my gosh, it's not for me as an outsider, I'm like, "It's not sudden. She's been very sick with Alzheimer's for so many years," you
Yeah.
know? It's really hard, but I liked Bronwyn talking about it. I liked it sort of humanized Muzzy a bit, and it also
Yeah.
humanized Muzzy a bit when she was saying that, you know, people were making memes and jokes at Muzzy's expense, and Muzzy was like felt the world turned on her, and then we're all like, "Oh gosh, poor Muzzy," and then Bronwyn goes, "And now she blames me." So we're like, "Oh
Yes.
no. Oh
Yeah.
no. Oh
It's
no."
And I'm sure I wouldn't be able to handle it either, like going on a show and having people critique my behavior and tell me like all of the things about myself that need to be changed.
Mhm.
I don't think I could hear it because it would be coming like, at you nonstop.
Yes.
But it's not like a close friend sitting you down and telling you the hard truth. It's like a bunch of strangers, and so it's like, how
Strangers.
much can you rely on strangers? And
Yeah.
but, she's a difficult person, and I think Bronwyn needs to figure out how to navigate her relationship with her mom, which she clearly wants to have one, knowing that her mom is never gonna provide the type of love and support and care that Bronwyn is longing for. Like, Bronwyn has to provide that to herself. Like,
I'd
she
love to see
can't
Bronwyn's
rely.
sisters, wouldn't you? Bronwyn's sisters?
How many sisters does she have? It feels like she's almost an only child because why are the parents always with her? Is that because she has a lot of money? You
Probably.
know?
Todd, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Mhm. I think she has at least 2 sisters, and I'd like
That
to
would be fascinating. I wanna know the birth order.
yeah, because, she's the one that was the bad one, because her sister was pregnant at the same time, but married, you know?
Yes. Okay, it's coming back to
Mhm.
me. Yes.
Mhm.
And the thing that I thought was so interesting that I did not pick up on, but that Heather Gay did, is that Muzzy is trying to make sure that it's clear to everyone that she's still a good Mormon.
She didn't approve of what Bronwyn did, and when they showed they rolled that scene again of Muzzy kinda being like, "Well, I don't know, I guess your kid would have been in foster care if I didn't take care of it," and when Bronwyn goes, "Why would you say that? I would have taken two," like, that's dark, like, why would you say that to me
Yeah.
about your granddaughter, you know? And I think that's all of that was like, "Well, I'm just gonna show what a good Mormon I was, I didn't condone my daughter getting pregnant," and
Which
she
is
still is in that mindset no matter how old she is, you know?
But it's wild because it's so different from, like, Protestant and Catholic from my understanding of people I know in my life who are, like, really strict Catholics, and then they have a kid that gets pregnant
Mhm.
at a time that they don't expect. Yeah, they're pissed. They're upset. You had, sex before marriage. You did all this stuff. But they are like, okay, move in with me. We're going to raise this kid. Like,
Mhm.
because they believe in
Yes.
life so much, it's so important for them to give this life a chance. And they all come together. And then later on, they're like, well, this was such a blessing for our family.
Mhm.
That's sort of more of the experience I've had with very religious people, having dealt with teenage or unexpected pregnancies. So
Mhm.
it's just so foreign to me, this idea that, like, you're still mad about it and you're not
Right.
focused on the outcome, which is like a granddaughter who has brought joy and
Who you
like
love, who,
you
by the way, who
love.
walks
Yeah.
through the den during this
I know. I
conversation.
know. It was driving me. I'm like, this is a real person. You're like, when you're pregnant, you're talking like theoretically. You're like, when this baby comes or what, you know what I mean? But the baby, it's like a woman and she's here. It was
Yeah.
the weirdest. I just never seen anything like it.
Yeah, yeah, and so she said, of course, Muzzy's mad at her about it, so that'll be next season, but,
I,
um,
yeah.
and we get into the Todd conversation, and they're talking about, Todd, when she was in Greece, did go and help her mom move, and, they're like, "This is a nice part of Todd that we don't see," um, and Andy goes, "Yeah, so maybe there are these parts of him that weren't shown," and then she goes, "Is there gonna be more about Todd?" And Andy goes, "Am I gonna ask more questions about Todd?" "Yes, I am." And she goes, "Okay, well, then where," and then she's doing a little bit of a Lisa Meredith here now. She's trying
Yes.
to lead the conversation, like, "Where do you want me to start? With what was on the show or where we are now?" And he's like, "Huh? Like, I'm in
Start wherever
charge."
you want kind of
Yeah,
thing. Yeah, it was like
yeah,
sort of and that's when she dropped the bomb that they were separated. I really wish that no one who was on set leaked that because it
I know.
sucks to keep leaking all this stuff. I don't know why people think it's fun. If you know something, don't share it.
Yeah,
Like, why? It's not fun. I don't want to hear. I want to see it when I see it. Like, when the
yeah,
current cast is filming, like, I don't wanna see all these, like, Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, like, Portia and Vicky
I
getting into like,
know.
I want it to be surprising to me, so just
Yeah,
stop. Just
yeah,
just stop, and it sucks when it's someone from the set or, I don't know, but it came out, like, that day. It
yeah,
was like there were rumors that day,
yeah,
and I'm just like, "Fuck, dude, I
yeah.
wanna, enjoy my show."
I know because remember when Brittany had her show, in New York, we had already heard the thing about Brahmin, and Brahma was there in the audience, like, cheering and stuff, so anyway, okay, so talk about Todd. Okay, she says, "I saw myself this year saying things I didn't really mean, like saying I would be open, like, I don't know if I really meant that," and she said, we got to a place where I was feeling isolated, and no, the show didn't make them get divorced, but as every single person goes on the show gets a divorce, as the show puts a spotlight, on the problems. And then Todd was like, you can't talk to me about the problems in our marriage, but you also can't talk to your friends. And she's like, so I'm just supposed to like take it. I can't talk to him about it, and I can't talk to my friends about it. And she said she just started seeing that she makes a lot of choices on his behalf and doesn't ever like show up on behalf of herself. And it was hard to tell him he had to go. I was like, I love that she was like, it was hard to tell him he had to go instead of being like, I moved out. She's like, I told him to get out, which is
Yeah.
I enjoyed.
Because
Um,
I don't think he lives there very often. I think she lives there. I think he is like living in San Francisco and New York.
did you think it was interesting that after they got separated, he went through and watched all the seasons of Salt Lake City, every single one, and then, which when he wasn't even involved, and then made himself a Reddit and a Twitter and searched himself up, and just she goes, he was just a decimated version of himself. I was like, did he do this over a weekend? Like, what are we talking about here? That's a
I
lot
don't
of
know what
work.
timeline we're talking about, but he did invent Palm Pilot, so I do think that he is tech savvy. I don't think he's like some old man trying to figure out Reddit.
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
never looked up my name on Reddit. I never want to. I don't Google myself, like, except for when I applied for a job. I was like, oh God, what's going to happen when they Google me? Let me just make sure.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But I'm sure it was devastating. And I'm sure he doesn't view, I think he thinks he shows love by like supporting her financially and supporting
Yes,
her family, and that
yes.
like that's enough. And she's basically saying that's not enough. I need more and you're not able to give it to me. And he was like, I don't think that was what our agreement was getting married. Like in his mind, he
Mhm.
held up his part of the bargain and is confused why she sees him a certain way. And I don't know if it was hard for him to watch back and be like, when he said, "Oh, do I not look at you during conversations?" Maybe he didn't realize he was doing it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and then we talk about the cherry, at the ice cream shop,
That was
and
dark.
it was so funny because everybody was like, "Yeah, that was really bad," and Mary goes, "Huh, I thought it was a joke. I thought it was cute." And they're all like, "Mary, you're completely wrong." And she's like, "Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was funny." Well, no, he was and they were like, "He wasn't doing it to be funny. He's just doing it because he's completely tone deaf to what she literally just said,
I
not
know. So
listening."
I don't know how long ago they separated, but at BravoCon, I think I told you this, that one night that me and
Yeah, yeah,
Jody
yeah,
went
yeah.
out and we were at Mandalay Bay, when
Yeah.
we first got to the bar, there was no one there, but then we realized Bronwyn was there. She was just dressed down. She was wearing like a tie-dye sweatshirt and jeans, and we thought she was barefoot, but she just was wearing flat nudes.
Uh, barefoot would
And
have
she
been
was,
dark.
crying. She was crying,
Mm.
and it was a producer was with her and kind of consoling her, and then she would go back to, like, laughing kind of and crying, like, it was clear she was very emotional, but it didn't seem to be related to anything happening at BravoCon or anything happening with her cast. Like, I don't know how to explain it. Like, the
Yeah.
next day when I saw her on stage, she was fine. So I'm like, "Something is going on with her," and I don't know if it's show related. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like,
Mhm.
I felt like she needed to confide in someone, and I think
Mhm.
she didn't wanna share it with the other women yet. Like, I think she really needed time to process the decision she was making, and I feel like she was doing it with that producer that must be a very close producer to her.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
can we also talk, I think this happened on the last episode, so the second part of the reunion, but I
Mhm.
thought it was really interesting when Meredith said she had a problem with production and, like, everyone got involved and, like, was like,
That's here. That's coming up.
"Oh,
That's
okay,
coming up.
okay." I was
Yeah.
like, that was probably the most shocking part of a reunion I've seen in a long time.
I agree, because we kind this is how it happens is that, they kinda say, like, Heather and Meredith, "You're not doing good," or something, and Heather goes, "No, Meredith and I are not friends," and Meredith is like, "You've said it 3 times, like, I've got it." And then Meredith says she's sorry that she called Heather a liar.
Mhm.
And, Meredith was like, "I meant to say Whitney and Brittany were liars, not Heather. They're the ones that lied about what happened on the plane." And Andy goes like this, he goes, "Production's telling me that you pointed at Heather 3 different times and said she was a liar." And Meredith was like, "Okay, fine, production said it." So then they go into the conversation about this is how they go into the production thing. The conversation about when they were in Greece and Meredith was like, I just wanted to talk to my son, Brooks, on Mother's Day. It's Mother's
Oh,
Day.
yes, yes.
And Bronwyn's like, yeah, we do think it's rude. You're there to work. We're not supposed to be on our phone. You could get on your phone later. And Bronwyn goes, we were all there on Mother's Day and we're all mothers. And so, no, we didn't understand why you were so upset. And Meredith's like, well, I was really upset about something else. And then Andy goes, you were mad at production. And she goes, and Andy goes, well, you should talk about it. And she goes, I don't want to talk. It's a lot. It won't go well. So then we see 2 flashbacks from the reunion that we're watching, okay?
Yeah.
He goes, "Well, now you said twice at this reunion," so they flash back in the reunion twice for her throwing production under the bus. Once she says, "That was a whole setup by production," and then another time she says, "Well, that got edited out." So Whitney goes, I don't like this is now the third time you've said something about production, and I don't like it because there's a whole team behind the scenes that works with us. And that's the reason we got picked for Us Weekly. And Mary starts crying and goes, I don't like it when you talk bad about production. And Mary starts crying. And they're like, you're talking bad about production. And that's half of what we do is production. And they're like, the reason we were saying you shouldn't be on your phone is we're there to work and you get on your phone as an excuse and make a big drama to get out of the hot seat and we all see it. But they could have went past this production thing, but I was like, that's not cool if the whole cast and production and Andy know that she's got beef with production.
It's a bad thing, and I thought, like, okay, I think she has a valid point, the fact that they didn't show the stuff about anti-Semitism, so it
Mhm.
wasn't giving, like, the story of why she was so upset,
Mhm.
but she wouldn't have known that until after it aired, right? So whatever was going on in May when they were in Greece was something different that she was pissed about with
Because Andy
production.
said you were having a problem. Andy said you were having a problem with production, so he knew what it was. And
Mhm.
she was like, "It's not gonna go well." But what? What was it? What was she mad at production about?
She has such control issues. She
Uh-huh.
has to control, like, every single part of herself and exactly how she comes across. She's very similar to Lisa in that way, and so
Yes.
she wants to control the entire narrative, and if she can't, she loses it, and that's why she has an issue with production is because they control the narrative, not her.
Mhm. Mhm. Well, um, this is when they're saying, like, you always find some big reason to get out of the hot seat, and Andy says, "Okay, Meredith, how did you feel when you saw Mary, Whitney, and Bronwyn having that lunch and talking about your mood swings and that Mary cried, she's worried for you." And she goes, well, that made me sad, but there was no truth to it. And it came off on camera that they were making accusations about me. And Bronwyn's like, nobody was making an accusation. Now they were implying she had some sort of drinking or substance problem, like
Or mental health, like,
mental
they
health
left it
or
open. Yeah,
yeah.
something's off, her behavior was off, her mood swings were off, and they noticed it, and they're worried, and I think it showed, especially Mary, concern, and but Meredith, like, she has to keep it's almost like she's convincing herself that there's no problem by repeating that there's no problem, and
When they showed the clip of
yeah,
Mary talking to her about the plane, and
yeah,
and Meredith goes, "Well, it was like 5 minutes," and she was like, "No,
no.
it wasn't," you know? And we've never seen Mary Cosby drunk or pop an Ambien or anything, so listen, if there's anybody that's a reliable narrator from this group, I think it's Mary. You could rely on her to kinda be sober and see what's happening, I think.
Yeah, all of it's very odd, I don't know what it means for Meredith
I
and
don't
the
either.
future of her on the show because it seems like she has an issue with production. She doesn't like anyone on the cast except for Lisa, and that
Lisa.
seems to be more of an alliance than a true friendship.
Mhm.
And she just doesn't seem to want to show certain things. Like it's like as if she's on there solely to promote her brand,
Mhm.
right? And now she's got caviar, she's DJing, she's got her jewelry, she has her family that is on the new show in New York,
Right.
she's
Right.
got what she's wanted, I think, out of the show, and I think she's over it.
Yeah. Well, Bronwyn kinda addresses the fact that she was acting as Meredith's assistant and reporting things back to her, and then, Bronwyn's like, "And then you would act like it didn't happen, or you would purposely do things off camera so that would make me look bad," and then Bronwyn says, "All of us have to have these hard conversations, so why are you above it?" And Meredith's like, "I've never" Um, Bronwyn says she feels used by Meredith. Meredith does stuff off camera. Then we see the whole thing that again, I love when they do these flashbacks because I totally forgot. Meredith, when she was in the bathtub, telling Lisa that Brittany was like drinking all day, throwing up, and continuing to drink and all this stuff. And they were like, well, that sounds like an alcoholic. And she got that information from Brahman. And Brahman was like, I'm sorry that I did any of that. And Meredith on her, give her credit, said, "I wanna circle back and say that if you didn't hear me, I am sorry, I was not using you, and I didn't want it to come off that way." And Rob was like, "I accept." Um, Lisa and Angie kinda have a fight about, Lisa being superficial, and Lisa goes, "I don't wanna go backwards, I only wanna move forwards." I was like, "Well, you're on the wrong show because it's all you guys do is."
And Lisa also always goes backwards. Like, the second she's upset, she goes immediately back to the last time she was offended or another time she was offended. Like, she cannot move forwards. There are some people that really can, and she's just not one of them, and it's annoying that she keeps bringing it up. I also thought it was notable that Meredith did apologize to Bronwyn because I feel like she's trying to think about her future on the show, and I think she does enjoy Bronwyn as a person, and I
Mhm,
think she finds her less off-putting than the others.
mhm.
And so she's like, "Well, I need to have some friends going in, if she's gonna
Yeah,
stay." I'm not sure if she wants to stay, I don't know, but yeah.
um But anyway, they wrap up with what they've learned. Heather talks about how much she cherishes the friendships, and Bronwyn says she's learning that change can be good. Lisa says, "You know what? I'm going to work on it, Andy. You're going to really like this one. Intake. Like I'm going to take things. I'm going to listen more. Intake." And Andy goes, "Good." So everybody goes, "Good." And he starts to move on. She was like, "Didn't you like that one? That's for you. That was good. Intake, Andy." He's like, "Okay." Like, I got it. The end. Opa. I thought it was a great 3-part reunion. Sometimes the reunions don't need to be that long. I thought this one, we needed all 3 parts.
I agree. I wish they had spent a little more time going like, it's almost like we could only get to certain levels because certain people just refuse to talk, right? So,
Yeah,
like,
oh, yeah.
we couldn't really get into the plain thing in the way that I think we all wanted because she just refused to talk and Lisa refused to talk too. And then when it came to the, like, I don't know, the manicurist who's the anti-Semitic manicurist. Sorry, this is like kind of a sounds kind of crazy as a
Well,
storyline.
it's like the Haitian mortician, the
Yeah,
anti-Semitic
yes,
manicurist. It's
yes,
like, yes, yes.
exactly. And I really wish we had more of an opportunity to, like, get into that because that really feels like that's where all of her anger towards Brittany was coming from. And then
Mhm.
it was really obnoxious when she's like, "I did nothing to Brittany, and she chose me, and she just was mean to me from the beginning." And Andy's like, "Maybe" who's also Jewish, by the way, was like,
Right.
"Maybe she didn't like you." And Meredith's implying that she was rude because she was Jewish, which I think is taking it a step too far. Like, putting a good review on someone who is, like, being, like, accused publicly in the papers in Salt Lake of being
Yeah,
anti-Semitic is very different than, like, "You didn't like me, and it must be because I'm Jewish." Like, that sucks.
yeah.
I don't
I I
I
think
don't think
I
that
thi I felt like Andy was just like, "Maybe you guys just don't like each other, and that's
Yeah,
okay,"
because that's
you know?
true, and that's what
Yeah.
she should have taken Brittany's behavior. Like, she can't say, like, "Oh, you don't like me, it must be because I'm Jewish."
Mhm,
This
mhm.
is not a good but no, and that's not like a and I get why Brittany's so upset because it's not great to be called certain things.
No, well, Meredith said the pill popping ruined her reputation,
No, please.
or highlighted it. I don't know. Beverly Hills, I want to talk about briefly. I did enjoy. There was a scene this past week with Rachel going into What Goes Around Comes Around in Beverly Hills. I've been in that store, and the sales clerk that was in that store is the sales clerk that waited on me. I texted
I
Ingrid immediately, and I was like, "It's that girl that's there." Yes.
I loved that scene with her and
Me
Bose
too.
because
Me
I feel
too.
like she really likes Bose,
Mhm.
and I think Bose likes her. They're both, like, very powerful women that don't need to remind everyone of how powerful
Yes.
they are,
Yes.
and, you can just tell that that is, like, her like, she's in the zone. Like, she is in her element when she is in a place with vintage clothing. I knew none of what she was talking about. It felt like she was speaking in foreign language, and she was just like the amount of energy she had. Normally she's like, "I die." And then
Mhm.
she's like, "Chanel, blah, 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 from the 1980s." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah.
But that's what gets her going, and it's fun to watch because it is an art. Like, how she dresses herself is an art, how she dresses others is an art, her architecture of her house is an art, like, everything about her has art in it, and it's just fun to see someone in their element, and I
I
enjoyed
loved
it.
it. I loved it when Bose was in that story trying to explain to her about what Amanda does, and she's like, "No, wait. I thought she was a manifester." Bose is like,
Which she
"Yes,
is, like, she
she
is a
is."
manifester and that claims that you can manifest money.
Money. And Bose goes, "I've never seen anybody give business advice that has literally never had a job. Like, how did you get your money? Like, you have to have a business plan." I loved how Bose was like, "I don't," and I loved how Rachel's like, "I'm so confused. Am I okay?" Bose is like, "No, you're not okay. You're not getting it. She doesn't have a job. She writes books telling people how to manifest money." And she's like, "But she has a job." She's like, "No, she doesn't." It was it's interesting. Now, let's talk about this. Okay. So Sutton and Jennifer Tilly, I don't want to see these two queens having a fight. I don't like it. I love Sutton. I love Jennifer Tilly. How did you feel about Kyle telling Sutton what Jennifer Tilly said? I didn't like it. She's good. I mean, she had to, I guess, because of the show,
I
but I
think
didn't
she was
like
just
it.
doing it as, like, a work thing, and I think
Mhm.
she also knew that Jennifer Tilly and Sutton are so close that they would, like, make up, but she was like, "I have
Mhm.
to do my part in causing some sort of drama or being part of some sort of drama." That's what I
Mhm.
thought, because just the fact that they, like, cleaned it up so quickly. I even think Sutton overblew how angry she was with Jennifer Tilly, like,
Mhm.
to Erica to try and, like, make it more of a thing than it was.
Mhm. Mhm. I love how she's telling Eric, and Eric's like, "Oh shit. Oh
Yeah,
wow.
I
Wow."
love Erica this
Me
season.
too. Me too.
I am obsessed with, like and I love when she's nice to people because, like, her way of being nice is so unique, right? Like,
Mhm.
not this episode, but last episode or whatever episode it was where Sutton was, like, losing her mind, and she was like, "Don't let this bring you to a bad space. We're all in a really good place with you." You know what I
Mhm.
mean? Like, it's and
Mhm.
coming from her, it just means so much because she says so few words and so few words that are, like, encouraging that
Mhm.
it just
Mhm.
means the world. So when I love seeing her be nice to others.
Mhm.
I think
Yeah.
it's a good look on her. I think she has it in her. She pretended she didn't know what empathy was, but I think she does.
At that time, I think she was so blocked by the world, she could not
Yeah.
she definitely didn't know what
She's
empathy was.
right, she was seeing herself as a victim.
Now, we were introduced, and I forgot about this till I watched this right before we recorded, that this new girl, Natalie, came in that was married to, Simon Fuller, and she
Who's
came in.
that? I, like, don't know these people.
Let me tell you who Simon. I'm like, I
I
know, but
was like, "Who is
I'm
this
gonna
guy?"
say it wrong. Simon Fuller, a British entrepreneur,
Okay.
he's a big, producer and, like, a manager, right? And, he's not Simon Cowell, he's a different person,
Oh,
film and
like, for
television
music.
producer. He's the
Oh, film and
creator.
television.
He's the creator of American Idol, okay? And
Oh, got
but he
it. Okay.
just as the production side. Um, so yeah, he is a big deal, and he's very, very wealthy. And so he's married to this girl, Natalie, and she comes as Rachel Zoe's friend. I was like, "Okay, is this a friend of?" Because we spent a lot of time talking about her outfit and meeting her, so she must be a friend of, huh?
I think so because she's in next week, like, the promo for next week. I
Okay.
thought I saw her also.
Okay.
So, I'm interested in her, totally, and I like anyone that Rachel Zoe brings because I like Rachel Zoe so much, and I think
Mhm.
she likes to keep interesting people around her that
I
have
think that's right.
stories. Do you know what I mean?
That
That's why
yeah.
she kind of connected with Bose.
Mhm.
That's why I think she connects with Kathy, like, people who have shit that they've seen. in life, you know?
What did you think about, Amanda making fun of Dorit, not writing her own book? And then
I
Erica's like,
mean,
"Shit, I didn't write my book." We're like, "Yeah, we know, Brian Moylan did."
I know, I love when Erica said that. Um, it's the fact that she brought it up, I think, twice.
Oh, it was
Like,
3
it wasn't
times.
or 3
3
times. Okay,
times.
yeah. She didn't do it just once. Um,
She's like, "I thought everybody wrote their own books." I mean, I don't know, I guess because 'cause I'm an author, because 'cause I'm a writer. I was like, "Girl."
there everyone knows that there are ghostwriters, especially for people
Yeah.
who,
Yes.
aren't writers themselves,
Yes.
and, people to help. And what I would have done if I had, like, put my foot in my mouth like that, I would have been like, "Oh, tell me about this mother-daughter duo. Like, why do you think they're the right fit?"
There were
Right? I would,
so
like
many ways around it, but she just kept going.
yeah, she does this thing, and Rachel Zoe clocked it, where she has to put other people down to lift herself up.
Mhm.
And I love that Rachel Zoe and Bose, like, they and Kathy Hilton, like, they don't have to do that. They're
Mm-mm.
just
Mm-mm.
elevated, right? And
Mhm.
they are
Yeah.
not. I think Amanda is very insecure, and that's why she does it. People who act like when she was like, "Oh, I feel like I belong in every space that I go into." When she said that, I was like, "That's a person who doesn't feel like they belong in every space they go into." And basically, she's a fake it till you make it person, where she
Mhm.
fakes it so much that she's like making it kind of a thing. But it made her cocky and obnoxious. And deep down,
I
she
I
really
think
is
she's
insecure.
I think she studied every episode of this show. Um, I think this is her chance and she's gonna take it. And I will say this week, the storyline, she had a child that died, is the twin of her other son that is still alive. This is completely devastating. There's not any human on the world that wouldn't agree that this is devastating. It's a devastating time for their family, and the anniversary rolls around and it's terrible. I appreciate the scene with her and her husband talking about it.
Yeah.
But listen, I think sitting at that dinner and then having somebody bring something up against her and then go, "Oh, you're insensitive because you're not understanding," and then Dorit saying, "Okay, well, then we don't have to talk about it." And she goes, "But don't you think it's bad that you're talking about PK's alcoholism?" And she's like, "Do you wanna talk about it or not wanna talk about it?" You
I
know?
felt like Dorit should have just taken the note and just immediately dropped it.
"I'm
And
so sorry," and then let's change the subject.
yeah, yeah. Didn't you know what? We can talk about this another time. Yeah, totally. It was just it's one of those things that's just yeah, you can use it to shut down a conversation, but I and she was using it to shut down a conversation, but it's also I would rather hear like her talk more about that experience and having the other women talk to her. I actually
Yes,
think that Bose would benefit to have a conversation with him because Bose lost a child,
yes,
I
right.
believe too,
Mhm,
or maybe it wasn't born yet, but you know what I mean, like far along. And the twin situation is so much more common than people realize,
mhm,
where twin pregnancies are very dangerous. They're complicated, and there's so many different types of twin pregnancies, and the
mhm,
placenta, and who gets most of what it's all very delicate, and there's a lot more of these scenarios than people realize, and especially if they're both born the same day and one remains, you're always reminded of
mhm,
the child that you lost in a way that's different than even if you just not that it's better or worse, just different than if you just lost a child. Like,
mhm,
this is you have to celebrate one and also mourn the loss of the other. It's like trying
mhm.
to hold space for both, which is very complex emotionally, I think.
Very.
And
Well, that's why I was interested in
yeah.
the conversation with her and her husband, and her sort of saying to the
Yes.
psychic, "My
Yeah.
husband feels my son more and I don't," and the psychic all of that was very interesting to me, and I think production did the rest of the ladies a disservice by not letting them know this was going on, because I think if the rest of the ladies would have known, then they wouldn't have been like, "Ooh, at the table, Dorit's gonna bring this up," because like or hate Dorit or whatever, she definitely is not such an asshole that she would want to hurt someone in that way. But, then it kept going, like, Dorit would go, "You're right, we're not gonna talk about it." But then Amanda would bring it back up, and Dorit's like, "Are we gonna talk about it or not?"
But she didn't shut it
And
down right away. I feel like
no,
Dorit
she
did not
didn't.
shut it down right away. She just kind of kept talking around it, like, because she can't stop talking. So she ends up talking herself with a foot in the
Yes.
mouth because
Mhm.
she can't shut up. Like, all she had to do was like, "I'm really sorry. I didn't know that. And we can discuss this another time."
I wish
Why don't
production
you
would have told them so that they wouldn't have brought up
I
anything
don't but
heavy at
does
the dinner table.
production say things like that? Because
No,
normally yeah, I think they just film, right, what happens, and they may not all know. It may just be, like, a couple people, the producers or whatever that know, and maybe they weren't involved in the filming of the group event. So, and it is interesting
I don't know
to
because
see
they did twice.
yeah.
They showed Kathy twice going, "Is that your dog?" And she's like,
Well,
"No, my
I think
child." And I was like,
she was
"Oh my god."
confused. Yeah, I
Yes, she
know.
was. She wasn't trying to be funny. She wasn't trying to play
No,
Kathy
she was
Hilton.
confused, and then when
Like,
she
"Oh,
got
they left that
Dorit
in."
I really appreciated watching Kathy be empathetic and kind because she
Yes.
was like went and got Dorit and was like, "Come on, go apologize." And then, I get it when Amanda was like, "Don't touch me."
Yeah, I got
Um,
that too. Yeah.
I got that, like, and then, it's like you're gonna apologize, but then you're gonna still keep explaining yourself. Like, stop the explaining of yourself, stop the buts. Just
Mhm.
say, like, "I'm really, really sorry. Would
And
you
I'll
mind if I
leave you
give you a
alone.
hug? Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll leave you alone. Would you mind if I give you a hug? I am terribly sorry." Like, I think in those moments where someone is so emotional, it's just really important to, like, ask for consent to touch them
Mhm,
if you don't
mhm,
have a close relationship where you usually touch them.
mhm,
Do you know what I
mhm.
mean? This
Yes,
isn't like a
totally.
close friend. So I felt very bad for Amanda in that situation. And I feel like the dinner could have totally gone differently if they had given her space to talk and then and maybe like share a bit about I don't know, her current I can't remember. It was like Zion and Canaan. Is that
Canaan? Yeah.
Canaan?
Mhm.
Very biblical names. So I don't know if it's like they were like, well, how is Canaan's third birthday? Is that like they could
They
have had
could
a
discuss yeah.
conversation and we could have gotten to know a different side of her.
That's
I
why I just
think
wish that Dorit thing wouldn't have gotten brought
I
up
know.
because it was you could see everybody's face is genuinely like, "Oh god, this is awkward," and then what do you say? Because it is such a serious, dark, deep wound, and then we're bringing it up at dinner, and then, of course, at the same time, they don't like Amanda, so they're like, "Okay."
Yes.
Now she's just gonna use this to get out, like Meredith using I couldn't talk to Brooks on Mother's Day to get out of a conversation. So it's like Amanda can't win in this situation no matter what. So she did the best thing to be like, I'm just going to go home and I shouldn't have come because she shouldn't have come, I think,
Yeah, I
actually.
think she should have come. Just the way that Bose, I mean, 2 days after a egg retrieval, you can get I mean, I guess it depends on how it goes, right? But, like, if you're feeling emotional and you have all the hormones and you're still in a little bit of pain, then, like, yeah, stay at home, right? Like,
Did you see that whoever is that doctor she's using is like shut down now?
well, I was wondering because
It seems it's people are like, first of all, this doctor's not using correct doctor language, whoever this doctor
yeah,
is. And
yeah.
then somebody posted in one of the various Bravo Facebook groups, and it was a picture of the front door of that woman's practice. It was like, "The keys have been taken because you haven't paid your rent."
I thought it
Yeah,
was a red flag that she was flying to Nevada to do something that you could do easier in LA, right?
right. And
There
she's very
may be
connected in
rules,
LA. Yeah.
but I think there are sometimes rules that a practice may have over age or
Mhm.
different circumstances. And I'm someone who went through it where I froze my eggs and I have a medical condition that made it so that my eggs stopped being produced at a very young age. So I went
Mm.
through very similar to her where it's like you see six and then you get two kind of a thing. Like
Uh-huh.
you you don't get what you think you're going to get and it's a lot of poking and prodding and blood taking and
Yeah.
not you don't really get what you want out of it, and the odds are not in your favor.
Yeah.
And at her age, I did it when I was like 36. That's very different than doing it at like 48, which is how old I think she is.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
there are a lot of like risks of pumping yourself with that many hormones. There are a lot of things that can go wrong. I think
Mhm.
flying, I hope they drove to get to Nevada because,
Mhm.
like, I don't think flying with all of that is a good idea. Like, there's just And so I'm not shocked that that place is shut down. I
That the
think
doctor might not be.
yeah,
Listen,
like,
this is all allegedly. We don't know about the doctor, but it does seem a little sketch
well, it seems sketch to leave the state when you're in LA. It just that's sketch nonstop. That's
because
just
you're in
sketch.
Los
May
Angeles,
but
California. You've got
maybe Los Angeles had, like, a cutoff of a certain age, like, we're not going to work with women over 46, or we're not gonna work with women or whatever the age is,
yeah.
uh, or we're not gonna implant it in you because the health risks are too high, and it's
Mhm.
not just of your age, it's that you've had 2 previous pregnancies that were very dangerous,
Yeah,
right? That,
very
like
yeah.
and so yeah, I don't know. I also really didn't like that she's like, "I'm not sure what's gonna happen if this doesn't work because of Keely," and I'm like, "Get an egg donor, like, adopt." Like, there's so many options.
Lots of choices.
Why does it
Lots of
have to be
choices.
your egg? Like,
Mhm,
when you if you're going through and if a medical professional is telling you this isn't really
mhm.
a good idea, which I
Yeah,
think she had heard from others, which is why she turned to this place in
to this
Nevada.
doctor, yeah.
I mean, but people, when you're desperate and when you really want something, you're willing to listen to whoever, and you're like, they have a doctor, they have a doctorate degree, they medical degree, like, you know,
They have a clinic, they must be fine.
yeah.
Boom.
And or talk to someone that had success, right? That was also
Mhm.
older, you know, and it
You know
can
who
be
else
done. Like, yeah, Kenya,
you
look at she carried a
Oh,
baby
that's
at
true.
47. Mhm.
You know who else had a clinic? Denise's husband, Aaron.
Oh, well, that's
He had a
that one, I
clinic.
I actually couldn't watch her show because of him. Like, he is such a fraud, and he
Yeah, such a
makes
fraud.
money and took money from people who are very desperate with cancer, saying that he
Yeah,
could treat them with
yeah.
lasers,
Mhm,
and it's sad to watch. And he seems to be a horrible man, and his family seems
mhm.
horrible as well, and so I was right and to not watch that show because I couldn't. His energy, I could feel through the screen. I was like, "This is so dark and disgusting, like, I don't
And
feel
you s
good or safe watching this."
and did you see that his mom started a GoFundMe for him and said it was for him and her granddaughter. Um, she's the daughter that Denise
Eloise.
Eloise, claiming that's her
Yeah.
granddaughter and that starting a GoFundMe because they were gonna be he and Eloise would be homeless, which of course is not the case, and yeah, it'll
How
be interesting
that's
when she comes back on our screen. I'll be interested to see her.
Yeah. I'm wondering, did did her husband have custody of Eloise? Like, did he ever file formal adoption papers? Because that could be
I kind of feel like
an
no, I kinda
issue.
feel like
Right,
she
I thought she
adopted
did it on
Eloise
her own.
single and then she met
Yes.
Aaron.
So he has
Yeah,
no legal rights to her.
no legal rights, but maybe, she's like they can spend time together because Eloise does know him, but if everything
I
what
don't
we're
know
hearing
if
about him is true, then maybe not.
Yeah, yeah. I think if he was physically violent with her in front of Eloise, that's the reason not to have Eloise near him.
Yeah, when we don't know, it's all alleged. Don't come at us, Aaron Pfeffers, whatever the fuck your name is.
You can come at me, I think you're a piece of shit, and I don't think you have a dime to your name. You can't sue me. I've
Oh,
more in my bank account than he has in his. He said he had no money, and I'm gonna take him at his word.
Mandy. Oh, Mandy, you're so funny.
I'm sorry.
Um,
Hate that man.
Mandy, tell people where they can find your podcast that I love so much.
You can find me at Is This Real Life with Mandy Slutsker anywhere that you listen to podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. I'm sure there are other, avenues. And
Mhm.
I'm at Mandy Slutsker on Instagram. And I'm also on Threads recently.
Good.
Still unsure how to use Threads, but I enjoy it
Mm.
because the algorithm for me has been like way more positive. And some of the people that I'm only on Twitter to follow to follow Capital Weather Gang, which did help me out when I was in a bind in Grand Cayman last week. They told me not to mess with my flight, and I didn't, and I got home, so I'm grateful for them.
Okay.
And I follow this one journalist, Jake Sherman, who always knows what's happening in Capitol Hill before it actually happens. But now you can find them on Threads, which is just so much more pleasant because the algorithm, for whatever reason, is just giving
It
me
it
more
it
positive stuff and
it really
jokes. And
does. Yes,
I was
and
like, "What
fun,
is it And then
housewives stuff. Yeah.
someone was like, "Oh, wait, you just haven't gotten to, like, the bad part of Threads yet." I was like, "Maybe the things that I'm consuming are, like, giving me more good things, but with
Yeah.
Twitter, I can consume good stuff, and it will, like, throw
Still
me,
get
like,
it.
absolute shit." It will be
Yeah.
like, "I'm gonna show you a bunch of videos that are gonna ruin your day, and a
Yes.
bunch of people that are really mean and hate each other and going at it and not solving any problems."
Yes, and that's too bad because Twitter used to be fun, but
It
Threads,
was!
I don't quite understand Threads either because it's like you have to pick a subject and then maybe it drops things happen below that, but
So I
I
don't. I just look at whatever comes up. That's
yeah, I
I
just sort
I
of
like
look and then yeah,
and then I'm done. Yeah, so I'm like, "Ooh," and it's been good stuff so far, so and I've connected with a lot of, like, Minnesota people,
yeah, yeah.
which has been fun. Like, someone talked about my one of my favorite restaurants in Minneapolis, on the thread, and I was like, "They have the best grilled cheese and tomato soup in the entire state of Minnesota." Shout out
You
to
know,
Lowbrow.
my daughter, thinks that she is the grilled cheese expert of the world. So next time, or if I mean, I've been to Minneapolis, but if she ever gets there, I will tell her that she'll have to put
Yes,
that on her bucket
it's not,
list.
like, super fancy grilled cheese in the way,
No,
like,
no,
you know,
no.
some
We
like,
like
just, like,
diner grilled cheese.
solid
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
it's so good.
She likes
It's
a just like a
so
white
good.
bread and an American cheese. I mean, she likes
It's
the
so good.
lowbrow. This is called the lowbrow. Is that what you
The
said?
yeah, that's the name of the restaurant. I
Okay.
love it. So
Shout out
anyone who's
lowbrow.
in Minnesota or thinking of going to Minneapolis when the weather gets better to support our wonderful state,
Mhm.
Lowbrow is, a great place.
Okay. Wow, this took a turn.
And they have a
Grilled
good kids
cheese.
menu because I normally go there with my 4-year-old niece.
I love a kids menu myself. Speaking of that, I'm gonna go grab some dinner. Well, thank you very much, Mandy. Everybody make sure you're following Mandy over there on the social media and listening to her podcast that comes out on Sundays, which is great because a lot of things don't come out on Sundays. So it's nice to have some Bravo on Sunday.
And thank you so much to Mary Payne. You are one of my like favorite people that I've met through podcasting. You're a
Ah,
real human being. It is fun to see you in real life, separate from
yes.
this whole world. I
Uh-huh.
love your producer, Ingrid, also from Minnesota. You
Yep.
guys are just such good people and you put out such good content. So
Oh,
thanks for, putting out stuff that makes us laugh during
yeah.
some pretty rough times.
Listen, man, we're trying. We're trying.
I
We're
know.
trying.
It's like
It's rough out here. It's rough out here. It's rough.
it's just yeah, it's like if a thing
It's
could go
rough.
wrong, it does, essentially, in 2026. I thought it
I
was
d
2025, but
I do get to see Mandy sometimes in person, because we're both in the DC area, so that's fun sometimes, and every time there's, like, an event, I'm like, "Mandy, are you going? Should I go? Should I see you there? Are you gonna go? Should I go? You gonna go to Andy
yeah.
Cohen's book signing? Are you gonna go?" So whenever anything comes up, we always chat about who's gonna go. Generally, you know me, I don't leave my house, but Mandy usually goes and reports back.
Well, we can hang out once the weather's a little better and you can drive in
Amen.
DC.
When I can get out of my driveway, I'll come and see you. I'll come and
It's
see you.
actually it's so bad, and I'm saying this as someone who, like, grew up, like, outside Minneapolis, like, you, like, can't get y it's hard to get around.
It's hard. Yeah, I just bought one of those little tents that you can put in your yard for the dogs. It's like a little mini greenhouse, and then it protects that air and then you
Oh.
can send your dog out, and then they'll be on the grass, but covered.
That's brilliant.
Yes, and since we have a little patch of grass that we have shoveled out for them, we're gonna put the little tent on top of it, and that way they'll go out in the snow. Because one of the dogs is looks at the snow and is like, "Nope, I'll be on the porch." You're like, "Well, you can't poop on the porch." So, it's
Yeah.
a real struggle. It's a real
My dog
struggle.
doesn't mind the snow and ice, but it is, like, hard to find a place to go when it's like you're walking on solid ice. You're like, "Do
Yeah,
I" and
yeah.
then, if they pee, they, like, kind of melt it and, like, kinda sink a little. It's like
I think we have another week or 2 of this, and then we're gonna be done. We'll be done with
Okay.
with the snow, and then you'll melt and I'll melt, and we'll try to see each other.
Okay. That
Okay.
sounds good.
Alright, bye, Mandy.